Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate you coming out. My name is Brianna Abbott. I'm one of the counselors at Worthington Kilbourne High School, along with Andrea Gratz from Worthington Kilbourne High School. We are the two College Credit Plus coordinators at Kilbourne, and so we are here along with David Court, the College Credit Plus coordinator at Thomas, as well as all of the Thomas Worthington High School counselors who you met as you were coming in and signing in. Thank you again for being here. We are very fortunate to have the opportunity to share information with you here within our district about the opportunities available to students and parents through College Credit Plus. As a piece of that, we have several colleges that are here and they're going to present most of the information tonight. A couple of them are going to present on behalf of all of them, but we have multiple college representatives here that will be here to meet with you after the evening's actual formal presentation is over so that you can get your individual questions about the opportunities available at each of their campuses as well as in the individual buildings answered. Our guests tonight include Brendan Bland from The Ohio State University, Kimberly Connell from Columbus State Community College, Dustin Dunleavy from Central Ohio Technical College, Mark Moffitt from Otterbein, over there, and Kim Gaddis from the Columbus College of Art and Design. And each of those representatives will have an area set up outside after the presentation is over where you can go up to them and talk to them about the opportunities available. But our evening is going to start with Brendan Bland and Kimberly Connell sharing information about what College Credit Plus is and what those opportunities would look like for you as students and for parents for your children.
So I don't do well with podiums, so I'm going to kind of hang off to the side here. And David did warn me about the net, so if I do fall into the net, that's okay, guys. Don't worry. I'm very bouncy. We'll be good. One last warning: if you believe that you are here for the 7:15 showing of Star Wars: Force Awakens, this is your last chance to go. Alrighty, let's get started. So, College Credit Plus. This is let's go ahead and hit the first slide here. What is College Credit Plus? College Credit Plus is an opportunity for qualified, and we're going to go ahead and highlight the word qualified, high school students to take college classes before graduation. College Credit Plus covers all dual enrollment programs, so this is going to be high school and college credit for students. College Credit Plus is free of charge to the student, the public students who are residents within the state of Ohio, and they include on-campus and then also in high school and online opportunities. Some students may be able to take advantage of some self-pay options. These students will receive college credit but will not receive high school credit upon completion of the coursework, and we'll go over why some students may select self-pay. So what does College Credit Plus cover? College Credit Plus students are going to have the cost paid by the school district. That's going to include all the required fees from the colleges or universities. So those are things like tuition, fees, books, all those required pieces. Some things that College Credit Plus is not going to include are going to be the optional things, such as parking on campus, a gym membership, lattes at Starbucks, transportation to campus. So those things are not going to be covered, but it's really those required pieces that are going to be what's going to be covered by the state.
So for students who choose to do self-pay, some of the reasons that they choose is that they may not want to have the college classes on the high school transcript. They may want to take Dev Ed or remedial courses. So for example, at Columbus State, you have to take a placement test in order to qualify for College Credit Plus. And if you test into courses that we deem developmental ed, those are not covered by College Credit Plus because it's only college level courses. You would still have the option to take those courses, but you would have to do those as self-pay. And then non-public and homeschool students may do self-pay if they do not receive state funding. I'm not sure if we have any homeschool or non-public students in the audience. I'm under the assumption that it's just Thomas Worthington and Worthington Kilbourne students here. But if we do have any non-public or homeschool students who happen to reside in this district and are here tonight, there's a separate funding application that you have to use, and that's available from the state. It'll be available, I believe, February 15th, I believe, but it's on the Ohio Department of Education's website to apply for funding. So basically, funding for public school students who are Ohio residents is guaranteed. Funding for non-public and homeschool students, you have to apply for it, and it's not guaranteed. So College Credit Plus will allow a student to earn up to 30 credit hours per academic year. Students can earn a maximum of 120 credit hours between 7th through 12th grade. And so the state uses a formula to determine how many hours a student is eligible for a particular academic year. And they determine it based on how many high school credits the student is taking. So for example, you take the student's number of high school Carnegie units, which are credits, you multiply that number by 3, you subtract that number from 30, and then that'll give you the number of hours for which a student may earn in that academic year. Non-public and homeschool student, as we said, funding is by application and is not guaranteed. All students, regardless of whether or not you're public school students or non-public or homeschool, you have to submit a letter of intent in non-public and homeschool, also an application. You'll receive notification of your award, and the credit hours may be limited. So for non-public and homeschool students, they don't use that 30 credit hour formula. They award credit. Last year, the way that they awarded it is they gave seniors the maximum amount of credits, and then they went down, juniors on down. So I don't think anybody under junior level got any funding. This year, we're told that they're going to award similarly, but they're going to start with the seniors, give them a certain amount of credits, give juniors a certain amount, give everybody a certain amount, and then go back around. And if awarded, you must submit a copy of your award letter to the college or university.
So what are the benefits of doing College Credit Plus? Why are we here? Why would a student want to participate? Well, let's start off with free college credit, right? Free college credit. Let's say that again, free college credit. That's an awesome opportunity, especially to take advantage while you're in high school. Students are going to have an opportunity to enroll in classes that maybe are not available in their high school. So if a student's really interested in taking that higher level Spanish or that higher level math class that maybe their high school just doesn't offer, this would be an opportunity to take advantage of that at a college that does offer that course. Students are going to get exposure to college faculty and the college environment and expectations. Once again, that's an invaluable experience that a lot of students, when they come back to us, once they've completed their College Credit Plus program and go to and are part of their 4-year institution or 2-year institution, they come back and tell us, wow, that experience has really set me ahead in terms of other students who are starting at the same time I am, but I'm ahead of the game. And then college credit may transfer easily, especially between public institutions within the state of Ohio. So what are some of the risks? Well, there is a financial risk associated with doing College Credit Plus. As I've already mentioned, participating in College Credit Plus, it's covered by the high school, it's free tuition. But if a student is unsuccessful, they may have to reimburse the district. A student in this situation, a student who may have to reimburse the district is going to be a student who is not low socioeconomic standing and either failed a class or withdrew a class 14 days after the enrollment period. So that is something to take into consideration when you're having that family conversation. Is my student ready to participate in College Credit Plus? Are they mature enough? Are they ready for that? Because there is a financial risk associated with doing so. College coursework may be rigorous and take more time than high school coursework, so something we're going to cover a little bit more in detail in a moment, but these are real college classes, everybody, so we're not going to go into the classroom and tell our faculty members or our professors, whether that's at Columbus State, COTC, Ohio State, Otterbein, we're not going to go tell them that, hey, you have a 16-year-old in the class, can you please, tone down the material, or can you not talk about certain things? They're going to be exposed to the real coursework at the pace that there is. So, if a student is taking a one-semester class, that class would have been covered over an entire year at the high school. So, something to consider when we're taking these classes. Transportation is not provided for on-campus classes, so once again, that's part of that conversation. Do we have enough time to get to campus? Is my student ready to make that transition? If my student's not going to drive or ride their bike or walk, am I going to have time to drive my student to campus? So those are all questions to ask yourself. Course credit may not transfer to a private school or out-of-state college. So, we already mentioned that classes are going to easily transfer between the public institutions, but between private institutions, that may not be as easy. So it really comes down to, will the institution that the student ultimately wants to attend accept that credit? That's a conversation that you and the student would need to have with that college, that university, because it's totally up to them. So, for instance, an example we always like to share at Ohio State, we had a student who was very, very successful in high school, took about 2 years of post-secondary coursework at Ohio State, and ultimately his goal was to go to Harvard. And he was admitted to Harvard, but Harvard said, unfortunately, we're not going to take any of that college credit. Now, we're going to waive some of the requirements, but we're not going to, those credits aren't going to transfer. Now, that student may have been admitted because of the college coursework they completed while spending their time at Ohio State, but that's something that he had to decide with his family, is did he want to have all that credit and attend Ohio State, or not have those credits transfer to Harvard? And then federal financial aid also may be impacted as well. So who can participate in College Credit Plus? Well, students in grades 7 through 12 who meet the college readiness guidelines, these are generally based on standardized test requirements, are eligible. Students must file a letter of intent with the high school guidance counselor by April 1st. Typically, the earlier a student does this, the better, because this letter of intent it's non-binding document. Essentially, you're just letting your high school guidance counseling staff know that, hey, I am interested in participating in College Credit Plus, so they can begin to prepare you for those next steps. So, tonight I believe your guidance counselors here are going to have those letters of intent. Go ahead and grab one of those and get that process started and get those in. And then students must meet the admission criteria set by their individual college to start at the College Credit Plus program at that college.
So who should participate in College Credit Plus? Students who are motivated and mature, students who are academically strong students, students who want to explore academic areas that may not be available at their high school, and students who have time to devote to college classes. When we say students who are motivated and mature, what we find is that most of the students who are not successful in College Credit Plus, it has nothing to do with their academic ability. It has everything to do with their maturity and not being ready for college level coursework. Being able to advocate for themselves, being able to talk to the instructor, not having their parent call the instructor to say, I need some help or I need some assistance, being able and comfortable to do those things. As Brendan said, we're not going to tell the college professors that you have high school students or even middle school students in your courses. So there may be subject matter that is really mature in the class. For example, classes such as psychology or philosophy, there may be very adult themes that are covered in those classes, and that content will not be modified. And so we have had experiences where there were students, particularly younger students, who were in those classes, and the subject matter was a bit too much for them. So those are things to consider. There's a lot of time devoted to college courses. It has been said that it takes about 2 hours outside of class, on average 2 to 3 hours outside of class, per credit hour of that class to study. So if you have a student who is involved in a lot of extracurricular activities, who are taking a lot of rigorous high school courses as well, that's not to say that this program is not for them, but you may want to think about how many courses they're going to take in those things. How does College Credit Plus affect college admissions? College Credit Plus students will be considered freshmen when applying for admission as a degree-seeking student to colleges in the university system of Ohio. This is really important to note because we often get the question, say a student has 30 or 40 credit hours because they were College Credit Plus students when they graduate high school, and parents are often worried about how they're going to be classified if there are first-year scholarships and those things. They will be considered freshmen for purposes of scholarships and those things. Grades earned in College Credit Plus courses will be included in the high school grade point average, which can be a factor in selective admissions. Historically, students could take classes on the college level and they'd only create a college transcript. But now every class that they take through College Credit Plus is going to be factored into their high school grade point average. So again, conversations to have when you think about, is this student ready? Maybe your student is at the top of their class if your school does ranking, and taking these college courses may impact that. So those are things to think about. Again, not to discourage you at all, but definitely conversations to have. Colleges will have a variety of admissions policies, so check with the school of your choice for more details. Some schools are very keen on taking students who have demonstrated that they can do college level coursework, but it really varies from institution to institution. College Credit Plus, AP, IB honors, what's best? This is another question that we get frequently, particularly for school districts that also offer AP or IB courses. And our answer to that is it is whatever is best for the student and the family. So selective admissions colleges look for students who have the most rigorous courses. Both the subject matter and the level of rigor are considered. So an example that is frequently used is, for example, Ohio State has a history class, History of Rock and Roll. Say a student chooses to do College Credit Plus and they want to take the History of Rock and Roll course. Yes, that's a college level course. That is wonderful. They are taking that college level history course. But they should not do that in place of, for example, AP Calculus. So it's definitely about the rigor of the courses versus just trading a college course for a high school course. Students should take math all 4 years of high school. Natural sciences and foreign language courses are also highly rigorous. And challenge yourself by taking classes that push you either through AP or College Credit Plus. Again, with the College Credit Plus, the difference is then the AP is that you take the class for a semester, you pass the class, you earn the credit immediately. With AP, you take the course for the entire academic year, and then you have to take a test to earn the credit. And so it's really a discussion between the family about what option is best for you. Some people will say, well, I'll take the class in a semester and get the credit. That's a no-brainer. But when we go back to thinking about credits and credits transferring and those things, if you want to go to some of the more selective institutions or out of state, AP is more widely known than some of the and the credits will transfer better than some of the College Credit Plus classes, even though they seamlessly transfer within the state of Ohio. So just something to think about and consider. So what are your next steps? So meet with your high school counselor to discuss your options, complete the intent to participate form at your high school by April 1st, and apply for admission to the college of your choice. This number 3 is very important. We often have students to call us to say, right before the semester starts, to say, you know, I don't have my schedule, where's my schedule? Because they have completed their letter of intent with their high school. Particularly with Columbus State, we offer a lot of the classes in the high school. So they're registered on the high school side because they've communicated that, but they never took the time to complete our application. And so if you don't complete our application, you're not in our system, and so we can't register you to receive the college credit for the course. So it is very important, regardless of which institution you're planning to attend, that you make sure, in addition to letting your high school know that you want to participate, that you actually fill out the college application for the institution or institutions of your choice. And I'm going to turn it over to Brendan to talk specifically about the Ohio State Academy.
So Ohio State Academy, that's our special way of saying College Credit Plus. You know, through all the different iterations of what post-secondary education while in high school has looked like, we've always been at the Ohio State Academy, so we just stick with it. We like it a lot. So, but Ohio State Academy is College Credit Plus. Once again, kind of hitting on some of the things we've already touched on. Within the Ohio State Academy program, classes are going to be available both on campus and online. One option students will not have is in the high school. That's not an option we're going to have for students, but on campus and online for the Ohio State Academy. And students may choose from a wide range of courses. So we get the question at all the times, and folks will ask, hey, Brendan, what classes can I take? And my answer to that is go to our online catalog and look at the courses that are available, and those are the classes that you can take. Any class that's available at Ohio State, students are able to take as long as they meet the prerequisites for it and as long as there's space available. So kind of going back to those things we were talking about earlier with the themes and the rigor of those courses, all the classes that are at Ohio State are available to students as long as they meet the prerequisites for those courses. So is the academy right for you? You know, how much time do you have to devote to OSU coursework? Once again, kind of hit on it again, that these are full college classes. These are full college courses that you're taking at Ohio State. Are you ready to potentially sit in a classroom with a college junior who's 21 years old and academically stand up with that person? If yes, that's perfect. But that's just something you're going to want to consider, because these classes are going to be challenging, and you're going to have to take some additional time that maybe you haven't had to take when you're in high school. So how much time are you willing to devote to that? Do you have the motivation, the maturity to navigate the OSU system? For a lot of you, you know this, and for some of you, maybe you don't, but OSU is a big place, right? It's rather large, and there's different layers to the Ohio State system, and it's a navigable system, but it will take some time getting used to. Are you ready to learn how to navigate that system and learn how to push yourself to utilize that system? And what are your goals and your objectives? You know, one thing I always like to talk to students about is, you know, if you're choosing this program and you're going to go to the Ohio State Academy, we'd like to be able to help you get set up for whatever your ultimate goals and objectives are. So if you know what your major is going to be, or you have an idea, that's going to be really useful, because we can start getting you ready, and we can start getting you in classes that are going to be useful, that are going to work towards that degree. So what is the admission criteria for the Ohio State Academy? Well, admissions to the Ohio State Academy programs are going to mirror our admissions process for incoming freshmen. That's what the state legislature mandates that we do. So that's going to mean a couple different things for the academy. Admissions criteria is going to be determined by the campus that the student wants to enroll. So we're going to go over that right now. If a student is interested in attending the Columbus campus, like our freshman admission criteria, it's going to be a holistic review process, and it's going to be a selective review process. So I know everyone wants to know, okay, Brendan, tell me what's the GPA I need to have, what ACT score do I need to have to get in? Well, I can't tell you that, because it truly is a holistic approach to how we review these applications and to the students that we're looking at and what they meet. But in general, the things we're going to consider are going to be class rank, GPA, standardized test score, the number and the rigor of the college prep curriculum that the students are taking. Additionally, the leadership and involvement they have, and letters of recommendations from teachers, high school guidance counselors, etc. So students, if you haven't started building those relationships, now is the time to start doing that. So I know I just said there's no numbers, but I know everyone wants numbers, so we threw some up here for you. This is a snapshot of the students who we admitted for who are currently on campus right now for the class of 2015 in the Ohio State Academy. Once again, these are not minimums, but this is kind of a snapshot of the students we admitted. So if you take a look at the GPA, that's a 3.81 on a true 4.0 scale, so that's not on a 5-point scale or a 6-point scale. That's going to be on a true 4-point scale. Once again, our students are scoring well on the ACT. You know, that's the middle 50%, so what that means is that we do have students who score higher than that, and we do have students who score lower than that, but that's kind of that middle 50% of students who we admit. And then 80% of students who are on the Columbus campus have completed a majority of their college prep curriculum at their high school, so they're completing 3 to 4 units of English, math, science, social science, and foreign language. So, you know, what does that mean? Well, while middle school students and younger students in high school can participate in College Credit Plus, are they going to be considered as competitive as students who are in their junior and senior year? Something to consider. Looking at admission to our regional campuses. Our regional campuses are open enrollment, so with that being said, we mirror that process with our regional campuses. We do have 5 regional campuses across the state, which include Newark, Marion, Mansfield, Lima, and our Agricultural Technical Institute up in Worcester. What does open enrollment mean? It means that students need to meet the remediation-free guidelines for the state of Ohio. Those are going to be right up here on the screen. If you don't feel the need to write these down, because we do have information for that outside, but these are going to be the baseline criteria that students would need to meet to be admitted to one of our regional campuses. One thing to keep in mind is that if a student does not meet one of these baseline criteria, but in one category, but they do in another, they are still eligible to take courses within the area that they do meet. So if they meet the minimum guidelines within the math subscore, they could take math classes, but they would not be eligible to sign up for the areas that did not meet the minimum criteria for. So let's talk about deadlines really quickly. So these are going to be the application deadlines for all campuses at Ohio State. As we already mentioned, the letter of intent is going to be due April 1st. Right around the corner after that, for this autumn semester coming up, it's going to be a May 1st deadline. Our applications found on the Ohio State Academy website. one question I have been getting a lot would be, are we accepting the April ACT? Yes, we are going to accept the April ACT for our May 1st deadline. In addition to the application, students are also going to need their high school transcript, the high school information form. That is also going to be found on the Academy website. That's something that the high school guidance counselor will fill out. On that form, students can provide their standardized test scores on that form, so it does not need to be an official score coming from the ACT, College Board if it's the SAT, or the PSAT. It does not need to be an official score. It can come on that form. You may send us the official score, though, if you want to. Taking a look at the timelines for review. So once the application is complete, we're going to do a review. It could take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So it's a pretty quick application process and turnaround. A student will get a notice of admission, and then they're going to get an invitation to an academy orientation. Orientation is when students are going to come on campus for the first time. This will be sometime in the summer, and they're going to meet with an academic advisor to schedule courses for that first semester. They're going to actually meet with an academic advisor after every semester, prior to every semester, to help them schedule courses. We just want to catch up with our students and see how they're doing, making sure that we're keeping them on track. We're going to meet with them every single semester. Once again, kind of covering some of the enrollment requirements. Students need to meet the prerequisite requirements for every course. Not every... a lot of times we'll have students who are dead set on scheduling a certain course, but unfortunately, not every course is going to fit within their schedule. So, that's another thing we need to take into consideration is the course a student wants to sign up for going to fit within a certain time slot? And then, of course, we need to worry about the availability of seats. And guys, that's the Ohio State Academy. I will be available after the presentation to answer any questions you might have, but I'm going to kick it back over to Kimberly, and she's going to, one last thing. This is Michelle Brown. This is her contact information. Her contact information will also be out here. She is our director for the Ohio State Academy, so she's like me, only much more knowledgeable and better looking and all those kind of things. So her and myself are more than happy to answer any questions for you, but she was not able to make it tonight, so she didn't want to provide her contact information. I'll also have her information out there as well. And now I will kick it over to Kimberly.
Columbus State's College Credit Plus program, we use the term dual credit and College Credit Plus interchangeably. Our classes are offered on campus, online, or in your high school. We do offer classes at Thomas Worthington and Worthington Kilbourne. You can take classes at our downtown Columbus campus, which is our main campus, our Delaware campus, or any of our regional learning centers. And we also offer a wide range of courses and pathways. One of the things about Columbus State is that for students, if you know that you want to obtain a 4-year degree and you start at Columbus State or you take College Credit Plus courses through Columbus State, you can do our Associate of Arts or Associate of Science program to do your general education requirements that will transfer over to Ohio State or Ohio Dominican or Otterbein or wherever you choose to go after high school. But we also offer career and tech programs as well for students who are interested in career and technical programs. We have nursing programs. We have a wide range of programs that are career and tech. So what do we offer to our College Credit Plus students? We offer advising services. We have 2 dedicated College Credit Plus advisors, along with a number of other advisors that can assist. We have something called the Preferred Pathways at Columbus State, and that is basically a program where we have guaranteed transfer partnerships with institutions. So if students come to Columbus State and they know for a fact they want to go to any of these 9 institutions listed here, they work specifically with an advisor to make sure that everything that they're taking will transfer and that they have a seamless transition from Columbus State to those institutions. We offer tutoring services, we offer a writing center, and we also offer disability services. And this is important to talk about. If a student is on an IEP or has accommodations in high school, the laws that govern that in high school versus college are different, but accommodations may still be available. And so it's very important that if you think that you qualify or you may qualify for accommodations based on an IEP, that you contact our Disability Services office, and definitely sooner rather than later. Everything is confidential. You don't even contact our office. You go directly to the Disability Services office, because I'm going to talk about the steps of our process. And one of the earliest steps that you do in participating in College Credit Plus is to take a placement test. And so if you qualify for accommodations, you may qualify for accommodations even with the placement test. So it's very important that if you know your student may qualify, or you think they may qualify, to reach out to Disability Services early in the process. Columbus State's tuition, we have a slide or a couple slides up here with cost information. Even though we've told you that College Credit Plus is completely free to public school students, and which it is, we would be remiss if we did not mention our affordability in general, because yes, you can come to Columbus State for College Credit Plus while you're in high school and not come there after high school, but we would love it if you chose to continue on if you're already earning credits there. So we just want to just point out how affordable we are. Here's our tuition, current tuition compared to some of the other institutions in the area. And these numbers are reflective of 2014-2015 academic year for the other institutions, but our tuition has not gone up. So these numbers are still accurate for Columbus State. So if you want to come to Columbus State as a dual credit or College Credit Plus student, what do we look for? As Brendan mentioned, the state legislation governing College Credit Plus says that we cannot have any admissions criteria for College Credit Plus students above and beyond what we would have for anybody coming to our institution. And so Columbus State, being a community college, is open admissions. And so what that means is we don't have a grade point average requirement. Students only have to meet course placement requirements. But we do have a chart up here that shows you what the college ready standards are. And so we have a, for ACT and Compass. Compass is our placement test that we currently use. Compass is actually going away. Excuse me. It'll go away probably around autumn. So if you apply anytime before autumn, though, we still have Compass tests. And these are the minimum scores to be college ready. These are not the minimum scores to be admitted. I want to be clear with that. These are the minimum scores to be considered college ready. So course eligibility for Columbus State. We look at 4 things. We look at placement, either by Compass or ACT scores. We look at prerequisite, so you must meet the prerequisite of a course. And I really want to hone in on this, because we often get students to say, well, I got accepted to Columbus State, why can't I take English 1100? Just because you are admitted to Columbus State doesn't mean that you are admitted to a particular course. You can be admitted to Columbus State because we are open admissions, but you have to meet the prerequisite for that course. So for example, English 1100 is a popular course that a lot of students take. It's first year college level English. And what we require for that is that you have at least an 18 or higher on the ACT, or 69 or higher on the Compass test. And so you may be admitted to Columbus State with, maybe you have a 50 on the Compass test, and you're admitted to Columbus State, but you can't take the English 1100. So just to be clear, you have to meet the prerequisite for any course that you want to take. If you have prior coursework, definitely submit that. If you are a student who's maybe a junior or a senior and you've taken AP classes already and you have credit that you want considered, definitely send those AP scores to Columbus State. Or if you've earned college credit previously at another institution, we must have an official transcript to evaluate to award you that credit. And then we look at plan of study or pathway. As we talked about earlier, there are some financial implications related to College Credit Plus, and we don't typically go into a lot of detail about those, but one of the things is the maximum time frame with completing college and the number of credit hours, and these are things that you probably don't think about or care about as a high school student. But once you graduate from college, once you graduate from high school and you're a college student, particularly if you're receiving financial aid, it's going to be very important that you don't just have a lot of credits a lot of, I won't say meaningless credits, but credits that are not really going toward a degree. So it is very important we try to keep you focused on a pathway. Again, we don't expect that if you're a 9th, 10th, or even 11th or 12th grader that you know for a fact exactly what you want to do. But in those situations, we have you have a conversation with the advisor, and we may steer you down the path of Associate of Arts or Associate of Science if you know that you want to go ahead for a 4-year or higher degree, but you don't know exactly what you want to do. So our admissions process, you apply online. I see a few people taking pictures, and we have handouts in the hallway that have all of this information on it. But you apply online. The Columbus State application that you complete for College Credit Plus is the same Columbus State application that everybody completes, regardless of whether or not you're a high school student. However, once you answer the question that you intend to take courses while you're still in high school, you'll be rerouted to a shorter version of our Columbus State application. And then you'll receive, within about 24 to 48 hours, you'll receive what we call a Cougar ID number. This number is very, very important. It'll be your Columbus State student ID number. So for any Columbus State business that you'll have to handle, we'll always ask you, what is your Cougar ID number? We will never ask you, what is your social security number? You'll need to know that for the application, but after the application, we never want to know that. We don't want you to give that to us over the phone. We're always gonna say, what is your Cougar ID number? Another reason why this number is very important is because you will need this in order to test. If you plan to take the Compass test at Columbus State, you have to have a Cougar ID number so that we can match your test scores to a record in our system. So once you apply online, wait 24 to 48 hours. We'll send you your Cougar ID number via email. And I know a lot of young people don't like to check email, but make sure that the email address that you use to apply is one that you regularly check. I am not necessarily suggesting this, but a lot of parents use their email address. Again, I'm not necessarily suggesting that, but make sure it is an email account that is checked regularly, because that is how we communicate throughout the admissions process. So once you have that Cougar ID number, you can test. You can take the Compass Placement Test at Columbus State at any of our locations. I would have to defer to your school to see if we're going to offer it here in the high school. Typically, and they're shaking their heads, yes. Typically for the schools where we offer classes in the high school, we also do the testing in the high school. So that would be something to get with your counselor about. I'm sure they'll make an announcement about when the testing will be offered. Again, you'll still need to have applied first, because you'll need that Cougar ID number. If you choose not to take the Compass test, you can submit ACT scores. Here's the catch with submitting ACT scores. So as I mentioned, Columbus State is open admission, so we're not necessarily looking for particular scores to admit you. However, if you only submit ACT scores, you do have to have college-ready scores. It's the way that our system works. If you only submit ACT scores, we can't move you from applicant to student if you don't have college-ready scores. So if you know that your ACT scores are all college-ready across the board, and we don't look at the composite, we look at the individual reading, writing, and math, or reading, English, and math. If you know you're college-ready and you don't want to take the Compass, you don't have to take the Compass test. But they must be college ready. And we cannot accept ACT scores from the transcript. This is very important. We have a lot of people to call us to say, I applied, why haven't I received anything, saying I've been accepted, and we'll say, we're missing test scores. And then you'll say, well, my school submitted my ACT scores. We don't have them. Oh, they were on the transcript. We cannot accept them off the transcript. We have to have the ACT score report. Now, when you take the ACT, you can designate on your ACT a number of schools to receive your score report. You can do it that way, or you can just log into the ACT website and print a copy or screenshot a copy of your score report and email that to us. We always recommend that you do it that way, because sometimes people don't indicate Columbus State the first time, and then they have to pay, I think it's a $12 fee. We don't want you to have to pay the fee. We will accept the scores if you log into the site, as long as it is the actual score report. There is a screen that you get when you first log into the site that shows you your scores. To the right of that screen, it'll show click for PDF score report. We need the PDF score report. And so you can send that to us. You can send that to us via email. You can mail it in. You can fax it in. We'll accept it any of those ways. Once you apply and you test, you'll be invited for orientation and registration. All College Credit Plus students will be required to complete an orientation and registration session. For students who are taking classes in the high school only, we don't require you to come to campus for orientation. Typically, we'll have an online version of an orientation. If you are taking classes at one of our locations or online, we would like for you to come to campus for an orientation. But you'll receive all that information via email. And then there'll be a registration consent form that we require that has to be signed by the student, parent, and school counselor. And on that form, there's information, about FERPA, a FERPA waiver so that we can communicate with parents, and then information just talking about some of the things that we talked about earlier in our presentation, making sure that you understand that our course content is our course content. It will not be modified, and those things. So here are our deadlines. I also have a form out in the hallway with our deadlines. So if you want to start in summer, our application deadline is May 9th. And that's a deadline. When I say application deadline, I mean just to actually file the online application. The deadline to either test or submit test scores to us is May 23rd. And then the deadline to register for courses is May 25th. I want to point out to you processing time. So if you apply by May 9th, you're fine. If you get us your test scores by May 23rd, you're fine. But you'll be pushing it between that May 23rd and May 25th date, because if you send us ACT scores, we have to input those scores in our system. And so you only have like 2 days. And so it takes time for us to process those things. And so when we say course registration deadline, that is not necessarily the absolute last day you can register, but I believe classes start like the day after that. And so you'd be looking at a $100 late registration fee. So it's very important that you hit those deadlines. For autumn semester, this is something new that we're doing this year, and it's a priority deadline, and it's May 9th. But if you don't hit the priority deadline, the application for autumn is August 8th, testing deadline August 22nd, and course registration deadline is the 24th. So what's the benefit of hitting that priority deadline? If you are aware, in terms of registering for classes, for college, classes fill up at a certain point. And so our autumn semester starts in August. So if you're just applying in August, you are pushing it in terms of getting into the classes that you want. And so if you apply by May 9th, we guarantee that we'll process your application as we get them, and you'll be able to register for classes earlier. And then here are our spring semester deadlines. December 26th is the final application deadline. January 9th is the testing deadline. And January 11th is 2017 is the course registration deadline. One more thing that I want to touch on that I don't believe we brought up. We have the dates for all of our semesters. You can start any of these semesters, but it's very important that regardless of which semester you choose to start, that you submit that letter of intent by April 1st. Say you have a student who plays a fall sport, and you may think, I want my child to participate, but it may be too much for them to participate in fall. So they're going to wait until spring. That's fine. But still submit that letter of intent by April 1st, because that's for the entire academic year, which would include the spring semester. If you are a continuing College Credit Plus student, I don't know if everybody here is newly learning about the program, or if we have families out here who are already participating, you don't have to reapply to Columbus State if you want to continue for the next year. Once you're admitted as a College Credit Plus student, you're admitted. You just need to submit your letter of intent every year and a new registration consent form every year and register for courses. One of the ways that we used to sell ourselves in the past is that if you're admitted even as a College Credit Plus student or PSEO, when it used to be PSEO, is that once you're admitted to Columbus State and you graduate high school and you want to continue on, you never have to reapply. That has now changed. So if you are a continuing student and you're a senior and you're graduating and you're going to come to Columbus State after you graduate, you will need to submit a new application. And that's only because we listened to parents say that our application was too long. And so we have a shortened version for College Credit Plus. And so there's information that is omitted for high school students that we will need if you're going to come as a post-high school student. We have a website with lots of information on it that we are constantly updating. It's also on our form, so you don't have to write this down or anything. And here is contact information. I have the contact information for Jacqueline Stewart, who is our director. I'm Kimberly Connell, the assistant director. You can call either one of us. You can email either one of us. Our email addresses are up there. The information is also out there. I have some business cards. The quickest way to get a response is to email that collegecreditplus@cscc.edu email address. And the emails that you'll receive from us will come from that collegecreditplus@cscc.edu. I don't know if you all have time for questions. And that's Columbus State. If you have questions, I'll be in the hallway after.
Thank you. If we can give a round of applause for Brandon and Kimberly. Thank you. And please, I would suggest you don't leave at this time. We still have that very important letter of intent to participate form that will be passed out to you at the conclusion of how we in Worthington City Schools are implementing and providing our students the opportunity for College Credit Plus credit. So again, please do not leave, as you will have that letter of intent to participate form here at the conclusion. Again, at the conclusion of our meeting as well, out the auditorium to our left, our college representatives will be here to answer your questions. My name is David Court. I have the opportunity to be a school counselor here at Thomas Worthington High School and have that opportunity specifically to be our College Credit Plus coordinator. So again, thank you for attending. We have quite a bit of information on how Worthington is handling College Credit Plus. I'd like to defer your attention, as I know many of you have been looking through this during the course of the presentation. We've provided you this document to give you some guidelines and some directions as you leave and evaluate if this opportunity is the best for your son or daughter. And within that context includes the courses that will be offered here at Thomas Worthington or Worthington Kilbourne High School, along with course descriptions and prerequisites to those classes. As you heard from Kimberly and Brandon, there are 3 specific opportunities that our Worthington students can participate in College Credit Plus. You first heard of, number 1, taking a class at the college campus, that being a student who would like to travel to the Ohio State University or Columbus State or Franklin or any other local university to take a class on the actual campus, and you heard the benefits of that. The second option is at the high school, taught by a Worthington teacher. We have a number of Worthington staff members that are adjunct professors through Central Ohio Technical College or Columbus State Community College that we are offering dual enrollment credit here at our high school, and those students have the opportunity to take that credit while in their halls at Kilbourne or at Thomas. And the third and final option is at the high school, taught by a college professor. Again, you heard Kimberly refer to Columbus State professors come to our buildings and teach 10 classes as listed in that document we've provided you that are available for your son or daughter. Speaking of those classes that are taught at our campuses, being Kilbourne or Thomas, here are the courses, and you'll find this within the informational packet we've provided you. These are the courses that we have partnered with Columbus State. They'll include AP Calculus AB, and Calculus BC. You'll see the comparable college classes there to the left. Introduction to Programming and Logic, Pre-Calculus, Introduction to Business at Worthington Kilbourne High School, Personal Finance offered here at Thomas Worthington High School, and here at Thomas we also provide our students an opportunity to take Honors Chemistry and AP Chemistry for the dual enrollment credit as well. Now we do need to clarify, recently within the past few months, the Department of Higher Education has clarified, and this is new language that we are learning and continuing to adjust our programs and our understandings. But as it reads, clarified that advanced placement courses are not to be co-seated with College Credit Plus courses. Continuing on, students will have to choose to take either an AP section or an AP course or the College Credit Plus course, even though the content is similarly being covered. As a result, this will affect your son or daughter in the particular classes of AP Calculus AB, Calculus BC, and AP Chemistry. Now, you heard Kimberly speak a few moments earlier about the benefits of taking the advanced placement curriculum, that it is a national curriculum, that opportunity, those opportunities of those credits, assuming you earn a 3, 4, or 5 on the test, could transfer to institutions out of the state of Ohio. Whereas you also heard Kimberly refer to the benefits and those courses that we have provided, taught within the schools about that transfer credit within the state of Ohio. And if I may come back to this, I'd like to make sure that the audience is very well aware of the work that the counselors have done. We put in many hours to assure you, the student and families, that these courses we are providing here at the school are, of course, guaranteed transfer, but are going to meet general core requirements for your son or daughter's freshman year at college. We spent many hours working with our administration on those particular courses. Excuse me. I went left instead of right. Let me clarify. These are the courses, beg my pardon, that we have Columbus State professors coming to our buildings. And these, again, to clarify, are the courses that we spent much time ensuring that these credits will transfer to colleges here in the state of Ohio. We assure you with the University of Cincinnati, the Ohio State University, Kent State, Bowling Green, Ohio University. We did our homework to make sure that these credits transfer. These are the courses that Columbus State will be currently offered. Tentative, as it says, anticipated classes, and that's tentative upon the enrollment that we will be providing at Thomas Worthington as well as Worthington Kilbourne High School for the fall semester. And again, these are tentative based on enrollment. For the fall semester, you'll see English 1100, composition, 3 college credits, psychology, 3 college credits, ethics, African American history to 1877, and classical mythology, which will be provided online. During the spring semester, we will be offering then Composition 2, Introduction to American Government, Introduction to Sociology, Physical Geology, 4 credits, please note that difference, and History of Art. I would like to ensure that the classical mythology is a literature-based class. It's not a social studies class. Wherein, again, keep in mind that you are receiving high school credit and college credit, and these courses that we will be offering through College Credit Plus will provide your son or daughter the equivalent English credit, the equivalent high school social studies credit, the equivalent high school science credit. So if your son or daughter is sitting there saying, I still need 1 English credit remaining for my senior year, they might consider taking the fall Composition 1 course, or if they've already taken AP Language and scored a 3, 4, or 5 and have met the prerequisite, they can consider taking Composition 2 or any of the additional courses that would fulfill that requirement. I would like to note quickly, if I may, for those of you who are students at Worthington Kilbourne High School, evidently your selection card, with due respect here, had a slight error. I'd like to just clarify. Physical Geology and History of Art are anticipated as listed here to be on the second semester course offerings. It's my understanding that those were incorrectly printed, and those are listed on your course selection card as the first semester. But again, please refer back to the informational packet that you've been provided here tonight. Again, I really want to take our time and thank the administrators, the counselors who worked on selecting these classes to ensure that these courses meet general core requirements for your son or daughter. Oh, not yet. Sorry. I know we're getting a little eager. I do apologize. I'll try not to take too much longer here, but there's many questions from our students specifically in regards to how this looks on the student's schedule. Now, many of these courses are going to take longer than the traditional 47, 48, 50 minutes that you currently sit in a high school class. So therefore, we certainly have become creative with how that appears on your high school schedule. Classes are taught, of course, as you've already learned, by the college instructors at the high school, may be blocked and will meet only on select days. For example, this past fall, we had Composition 1, an Introduction to Psychology. I believe our Introduction to Psychology course met on Monday and Wednesday from 8 to 9:20, and our composition course then met on Tuesday and Thursday, 8 to 9:20. Friday, our students, as they all were expected, were in the library studying until 9:30, until their third period class started. So there is some flexibility with how the schedule is offered. In that flexibility, though, there are some constraints that we will be offering up to 10 classes, and we will work with your son or daughter to ensure that they have the opportunity to earn as up to those 30 credits as possible. Now, some of you might be sitting here, and I have already met, and as I'm sure all the other counselors have met and begun to register for the upcoming 2016-2017 school year. And I can assure you, I've had a lot of students say to me, well, should I register for College Credit Plus classes, or should I register for my current high school class that I want to take? Here's our recommendation. I'm just going to read verbatim here. As you know, you have that opportunity to submit that letter of intent to participate form. It has to be turned in by April 1st. That's a hard deadline that you must meet. With that being said, However, our registration window here at Thomas closes this Thursday, the 11th, and respectfully, Kilbourne's registration window closes this upcoming Wednesday, the 10th. We would like for you, as it says, to register for the College Credit Plus class or classes that you are planning on taking. So on your course registration card, we want for you to indicate and then enter into the system what College Credit Plus course you'd like to take. And the reason for that, as you'll see here on the second paragraph, is that so we at your high school can tentatively plan for the number of students that are anticipating on taking those courses. We want to not only work with Columbus State to ensure we'll have the course numbers needed to run that class, but then also plan for our own building courses. As it says in the third paragraph, for CC Plus classes at the high school, again, please build your schedule with the requested College Credit Plus classes, assuming they will be, in fact, offered. If there is a conflict with your schedule, as normal, your school counselor, your son or daughter's school counselor, will work with you to add the required courses for graduation purposes. And finally, for CC Plus classes taken at the college or taken online, please consult with your counselor as early as possible before making those decisions. Choose your high school classes as though you will take everything here at your home high school. And then once your college schedule is set, you will need to communicate with your school counselor. For example, if I were to be taking a course or courses at The Ohio State University, I'm going to schedule my junior, senior, sophomore year as if I am here at your home high school for the full day. Once you then meet with the advisors at The Ohio State University or the institution you're planning on attending, and you build your schedule, communicate with your school counselor, and we will work to adjust your high school schedule as needed. You heard a little earlier, and you will see on the back of the letter of intent to participate form, again, a front and a back, when are you eligible to participate in College Credit Plus? And you'll see students can take classes during the summer, fall, and then during the spring, but not to exceed 30 credit hours. And as Kimberly and Brandon so well said, you must again meet all the deadlines and submit applications on time. Here's an example, a scenario of how we calculate the 30 hours. Remember, one high school Carnegie credit, say for example AP Language or AP Psychology, equals 3 college credits. Therefore, consider how many high school credits you plan on taking for the upcoming year. Take that number, then multiply that by 3. Then subtract that from 30. And that will tell you how many college credits you'll be eligible to take. For example, if I'm interested in taking AP Physics, that is 3 credits toward my 30. In addition, I need to take Math 3 for Ohio graduation. That's an additional 3 credits. I'd like to take a semester of government and behavioral science, an additional 3 credits. And last, I would like to continue my pathway in Honors Spanish 4. That's 3 credits. So in this particular example, I'm taking 4 courses at my home high school, a total of 12 credits toward the 30 that you're eligible to fulfill during the academic year. That leaves me 18 hours that I would be eligible to take for college credit. Let's take this a step further if we can. Continuing with his examples, I now have 18 credits remaining. And again, you'll work with your counselor and complete the registration consent form to identify how many hours you have. Again, continuing with his example of 18 credit hours remaining, if during the school year I also plan on taking Composition 1, an additional 3 hours, Composition 2 in the spring semester, 3 more hours. You can see how this all adds up. Ethics, physical geology. Now I have an additional 13 credits, college credits that I'm taking during the course of the year. That leaves me with 5 college credits left over. So I could consider taking that maybe during the summer, for example. That's a poor example. But I could have a few remaining courses available during the summertime. So please consult with your school counselors on making sure that you are not exceeding the 30 credit hour. If you do, legislation states that the families may be responsible for that payment. We often talk, and Brianna and I were at the Advanced EPP Gifted program just this past week. We talk about balance. We heard a lot of students talking about making sure that you balance. Please think carefully as you heard our representatives discuss about the courses that you're selecting. Consider your participation in high school activities if you're participating in marching band or sports. And a College Credit Plus course does equal 2 high school courses in that first semester. So if you're interested, or second semester. So if you're interested in taking Composition 1, or Introduction to Psychology, we need to make sure you meet with your school counselor for athletic eligibility. Similar to an AP class, all in one semester rather than across a year. High school weighted grades, again, they're equal to an AP weight. And your transcript will report the institution awarding the grade. So actually physically on your transcript, you will see the institution awarding the grade, the class title, and of course, the credit. Next steps, again, meet your deadlines and fulfill your obligations to complete the applications. Ohio State, Columbus State, COTC, Otterbein, and I believe CCAD are available to answer questions in the hall following immediately this presentation. We will be providing, and I believe the school counselors here at the back of the room, I would suggest you don't leave just yet, as those intent to participate forms are not available at this time. They will be shortly. Complete the intent to participate form. Return to the counselor's office between February 15th and April 1st. Again, if you do not submit this form by the deadline, you will not be eligible to participate in College Credit Plus. Follow college criteria for applying. As you heard Kimberly suggest, Worthington Kilbourne High School and Thomas Worthington will be offering the Compass Placement Test. And please work with your counselors to finalize the selections and the course planning that you anticipate. One moment, we would like to take advantage of the opportunity. Worthington City Schools also provides their students an additional opportunity to earn credit outside of the school day, and that's what we call credit flexibility. Credit Flex allows students to earn additional credit through a traditional seat time, but credit flexibility, as it reads, students have flexibility, hence the title. Designed instruction to design an instruction based upon individual needs and their strengths. So outside of the typical school day, you can, or even during an academic prep, you can work to create and build a class that is tailored to your individual needs. Credit flexibility has two different options: a demonstration of proficiency, and that being for students who have already learned the material. An example of demonstration of proficiency would be taking a test out option. If you feel like you understand the curriculum, and for example, in this particular case, in Spanish 2, and you'd like to test out of a particular class, you do have reserved the right to complete a credit flexibility application and actually complete a test that would allow you to earn credit and move on to the next level. One semester is a 2-hour test. A 2-semester class is a 4-hour test. The second option for Credit Flex is what we title educational options. And that's for students who do not know yet the course material but would like to earn that. It's an outside, as we used to call it, independent study. An example could include student design courses. I know we have a group of 5 students here at Thomas Worthington High School who have worked with a history teacher to design an American foreign policy class. That teacher has agreed to teach that and has signed off on their Credit Flex application, and those students are receiving a full credit in social studies taking an American foreign policy class. Other options could include online learning, internships, and mirroring, a course that's taught during the high school but yet done at the after schools. Again, there is an application to Credit Flex, and Credit Flex application needs to be completed prior to a course beginning to enroll and trying to earn that credit. Students are responsible for completing all steps of the Credit Flex application and signatures. Of course, work with your school counselor if you have any questions. And the Credit Flex application is found online on the Worthington City Schools website. Thank you for attending tonight. We know that there was a wealth of information shared. This presentation will be posted on each individual high school's website. You can find those on the website effective tomorrow morning. Thank you very much again for attending. We hope you have learned quite a bit. Thank you.